Hi gang, Mr. G here talking to you from my office here in Edmonds, which I will show you some other time in more detail. It's kind of messy right now and I need to clean some things up. While we're on our break for the coronavirus, while we're all isolating ourselves and not rehearsing, I'm going to make a series of videos. These are mostly for our youth players in Steel Magic Northwest Youth Steel Band program. But any subscriber to our YouTube channel will be able to see these, and so they're of general interest probably to other people as well. This is the way that we'll sort of keep in touch during this unusually long break, and you're welcome to comment on these and leave your comments in the comment section below, and ask more questions or make a comment or observation of your own. So some of the things that we're going to get into in these videos, I'm going to answer a lot of the little questions that I get from you guys that I never have time in rehearsal to answer. And things like, we'll get into like how the steel pan was invented and a little bit about its history without getting too academic about it. Some people are curious about how I got involved with steel pan, and there's probably some other fun things you don't know about me that I can tell you about in a video sometime. How a song becomes a steel band arrangement, and this is where that happens. And especially for those of you that are a little older and have some musical skills, some music theory skills, and you're beginning to transpose music and so forth, that will be of good interest to you guys, I think. We will show our Kent kids where the Edmonds kids rehearse, and we'll show the Edmonds kids where the Kent kids rehearse. Sometimes I get questions from each side asking, where do those guys, So we'll get into that. I'll explain all of that stuff. I'll probably give a few lessons while we're doing this, or at least one video on some technical stuff that I rarely get to demonstrate to the entire group. But I often make these suggestions to individual players, and so I'll sort of create a little catalog of these so that you can just keep it in your mind when it applies to you next. And for those of you who want to participate in this, we're going to be asking you, if you want, and if your parents are okay with it, to make a 1-minute testimonial, a video testimonial. What that is basically you could get your chance to sit down in front of this very camera and tell us what you like about steel band and what it does for you, and maybe things you miss about it while we're not able to rehearse. And so this might be a good time for us to do that. And you'll be able to come in just one at a time, no group settings, but we'll schedule a time in the coming couple of weeks where you'll be able to come in and record a little 1-minute video. And we could use those maybe possibly for social media purposes, but mainly it's going to be used for a fundraising effort that we have planned for a couple of months from now. So I'll probably give you a video with some ideas of things that you could say or do, or how it's going to go. And then that way we'll be prepared for it and we can just get it done really quickly. But today's topic is on the power of music. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. It's really easy for us to take music for granted, and that's because it's everywhere. You can look around and you can see people with earbuds in, and they're listening to the music that they choose to listen to. At any time you want, you can find music. And there's times when you're not really looking for it when it appears. I just filled up my gas tank a little while ago at a gas station, and when I got out of my car there was music blaring from speakers as I was pumping my gas. You go to the grocery store, there's music playing and so forth. And it didn't used to be that way. So if you think back about 120, 150 years, we didn't have a way to record music. We didn't have radio to broadcast music. And if you wanted to hear music, you either had to make it yourself, like a lot of people had pianos in their parlor, or learn to play an instrument or sing. You could get together with friends and sing. So if you wanted to hear music, you had to either make it yourself, or you had to get all dressed up and go out to a concert hall or some other venue to see some other people playing live music. And so it was very, very special. It wasn't something that people just constantly heard. Your parents and people in my generation will remember 9/11 when it happened here in the United States in 2001, when the terrorists attacked the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. And the time we're living in right now with the coronavirus kind of reminds me some of what happened when 9/11 happened. Everything seemed to kind of stop, and in fact they did, because there were jet planes involved, and so all the airports in the world kind of shut down for a few days. There were people stranded all over the place. Another thing that happened was that people's parties and events were canceled, just like they are now. You know, we've seen like all the theaters closing and so forth. And so music was not as pervasive in the culture for a little while. I had lots and lots of parties. This was back when I was a freelance musician. That's all I did. And we had lots and lots of parties that were canceled. And for about 3 weeks there were really nothing festive going on in life. It was a very, very somber time, and people were very worried and concerned, and just there was a lot of uncertainty in the world. And that's kind of the way things feel right now to me. But after about 3 weeks, I called up one of my clients and I said, well, are you going to have your party, or are you not going to have your party? And my client said, you know, I think it's been long enough. I think we're going to go ahead and have our party. I think people need this. And so my friend and I sat up in their backyard, set up our instruments in their backyard, and when we began to play, everyone came down from the house and surrounded us to listen to us play and to watch us play. And you could tell that they had really missed music, that they had missed hearing music and seeing people play it live, that it was very, very special to them. And I think it's going to be very, very special the next time we play as well, because music has a power to it, that it's a very healing, uplifting kind of power to it. I like to use the analogy that music is like kind of like a warm bath for the soul. You know what it's like if you're really cold, or maybe you're really dirty or whatever, and you climb into a nice hot bath or a nice hot shower, and you go, like that. And I think that music has that power for people's souls. And I suspect that we're going to see that when the dust has settled from this coronavirus outbreak. So one of my friends in Steel Mojo down in Kent said on our last day, we had just learned that schools were closing and that we weren't going to be rehearsing and so forth. And Sydney had the best idea. She said, we should be a street band. And I instantly thought of that backyard party and how healing it was for people, and how cool it would be for us to be able to take a band out and just play for people at a safe distance right now. We can't do it, but it would be nice to be able to do that for people. I saw on the news the other day, just yesterday I think, that Italy is under a really tight lockdown and people are not allowed on the streets and so forth. And there was a street in Italy where there's apartments on either side, and the apartments had balconies, and all the people were standing out on their balconies singing together. And it was their way of bringing something uplifting to themselves while there was an uncertain and sort of somber tone to life in general. And so music is very powerful that way. It's just it's easy to forget that and to overlook it and to take music for granted. But there's a deep human need for music. We need it. We definitely need it. And you guys will see how healing it is the next time we perform as a band. I'm sure of it. Well, that's all the time I've got for today. But in a couple of days when I get back from a short trip, I'm going to make a bunch of those videos I told you about. So I hope you'll watch, and I hope you'll comment, and you can share them with some of your other friends. And let's all stay connected while we're going through this, because we're a family, and we will be when we get back together again too. All right. Thanks.